I want to remind everybody about the community poem. There's a jar over there. I encourage everybody to write one line on a piece of paper and put it in that jar. And I will put it together and bring it next month and read it to you. So if you want to hear your line, you have to come back next month. And I will quickly read January's community poem. The prompt for that was about love. I have fallen in love with the seasons of my life. The chill of the wind chills me but warms my heart. I fall in love with a song I don't like when you sing it to me over and over and over again. I fall in love with every new day, quickly, obsessively, fully, wholeheartedly. Better to be in the world of love than the world of hurt. No empty street, no pain, no evil, just love. I have fallen in love with the seasons of my life. So we're going to have our features and then we're going to have an open mic, and I'm going to lead the open mic today. I will explain the rules for it before we begin it. But now I'm going to turn the mic over to Chip, who's going to introduce our fabulous features today.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you all for being here. First reader is Lora Renee Tucker, poet and essayist. She's a poetry editor of African Voices magazine and has been featured and published in the Right American podcast, the East Hampton Star, Candy O's Big Store, The Church, the Southampton Review, and Brooklyn Poets. Lora is attended Stony Brook University for an MFA in creative writing. She's twice received awards for her studies and thesis on her father's patriotic duty as a Tuskegee Airman. She is a facilitator of poetry, writing therapy for Stony Brook Southampton Hospital, and involved in anti-racism advocacy. She is presently performing in the Vagina Monologues for the agency supporting survivors of domestic violence on the East End of Long Island. Please welcome Miss Lora Tucker. Yeah, keep it going. She may take a little longer to get up to the stage. Keep the crowd going.
Richardson, I am like. Hello, everybody. How are you? Good. Thank you for coming out. And as I say, I am Lemon Kathy's daughter. That's the way I feel when I'm out here, because my parents were very much involved in community, and I have to say I am too. So, hello everyone. I want to say that with me, the first poem I'm going to share with you is Beware of Poet. Careful, I bite. My words can be sharp as the point of a pen, jagged as shard, breaking through twisted tongues, hard heads, dark hearts, malevolent minds. I am powerful on both sheet and screen, loud, proud, emboldened in caps, fantastic fonts, italicized, underlined. A carrier of wit, I drool sarcasm. I cannot be confined, a singing siren, a screaming banshee, pushing buttons, conjuring the impossible, telling the truth. My mind is a universe, one of many traveling in time. I have had tea with the Saraswati, debated with the Rebbe, searched for the Buddha in me, read poems with King David. My thoughts runneth over, my words are a balm. I am a warrior wordsmith, soothing the savage in you. Beware. I wanted, in honor of these times and what we're going through, I would, at first I was going to read, some like little stuff, but what I want you to see is the evolution of me and my protest poetry. And I think we need to protest. Yeah. Especially what I woke up to. This poem is what I wrote at 9 years old. It's my first poem I ever wrote. And it was about the Vietnam War. It was about the Vietnam War.
Say good.
And it's called The Strangest Dream. I'm learning all of the stuff you have to do for performing adjustment. It's called The Strangest Dream. Last night I had the strangest dream I ever had before. I dreamt that the whole wide world started an evil war. The earth shaked, the bombs made the whole world split in two. People wanted the war to stop, even animals too. Adults fight with all their might, but what is it all for? Children appealed for the world to heal. Stop killing, they all implored. So peace now and hatred never, so we can live in harmony forever. And when everyone held hands, the whole world fitted together again. Always an optimist. Now, that was 9. I had an experience at 4 that a lot of people don't have. And I wrote this as probably in high school or so, but it's about the end of segregation. Because I was born in 1960, but the signs came off, the whites only and all that signs came off in the summer of 64. So this is a story about my mother and grandmother taking me to Mount Mitchell, which is the highest point in the Blue Ridge Mountains, where my mother was from, the Asheville area, Black Mountains. And they had a mission that I didn't know about. Well, Mountain Mitchell, summer 1964. Clear, crisp air, high altitudes, magnificent views. I marveled at the newness of my 4-year-old discovery. Grandma and Mom marveled at the newness of Federal Park signage. That day, wooden benches looked smoother. Water fountains flowed, mountain spring elixir, minus wicked words posting past Southern etiquette expectations. That day, they could show me all Mount Mitchell had to offer, the Blue Ridge vista of their childhoods, with no obstructions of purple mountains that were majestic for whites only. I sat on those smooth wooden benches, absent the federal fixtures, pulled like deep-rooted wisdom teeth, exposing virgin colors beneath. I tasted fresh mountain spring water with no color lines, marked like red-hot brands to stand behind. And like the golden canary freed from her cage, Grandma sang of the amendment to the past, to the park's ranger still stuck in segregation, who didn't read the morning's headlines. How am I doing? Okay, thumbs up? Thank you. You need a little, Here's something that I don't know if they still teach civics or history the way I was taught. I'm old G, old school. And I remember reading the Constitution and then going, what? And this is why I said what. This title is called 3/5. Representation and direct taxes shall be appropriated among the several states which may be included within the Union according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians and not taxed, 3/5 of all persons. That's from the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, 1787. What is 3/5 of a person? Do you add water to create? Inflate with air, stuff with fluff, foam? How does 3/5 of a person look? Have the other 2/5 been removed at the knees? Denied limbs? Given no prostheses? What does 3/5 of a person eat? Scraps of white bread, white rice, refined sugar, homogenized milk? Where does 3/5 of a person live? Partial shelters where the elements invade? Blaring sun partially protected by shade? 3/5 of a person, where does 3/5 of a person go? Where the 5/5 won't? An isolated realm where other partials cope, far from any tangible hope? Who is 3/5 of a person? America's construct of denied dreams, where bits taken from the whole expose chasms of character, esteem. Giving back the other 2/5 won't necessarily make the other pieces fit. This poem was a redux, I say. When I wrote it, I was asked a few years ago to read for the NAACP for their student and scholarship. I think it was Black History Month at the time. And then I reread it, and I thought of these times. They say history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. Well, it does more than rhyme, and we're feeling it. So this is called Behind the Ballot Box. It's a rhyming prose. I call it prime. Great-great-grandma made breakfast that day, the best her husband had ever eaten. Flaky biscuits with butter, honey from the hive, a good day for eating, a good day to be alive. 'Cause great-great-granddad will no longer be divided by 5. Never again will he be divided by 5. Though great-great-grandma had no voice, she too survived. Great-granddad had his Sunday best on, his children walking ahead, great-grandma on his arm, the best they could buy from head to toe. This was the day they both could go. But my great-grands ended up learning to the contrary when they heard of a tax and had no money, when they had to read it and it looked funny, when they had to look at a bottle of gin and guess how many beans were jammed in. It was made so they wouldn't and couldn't win, though many were hung from a tree for trying then. 3, grandma put on her hat, waited for her adult child. She didn't have to walk far, just down the street a while. Having sons in uniforms, she knew who she would choose. Proudly being American born, she knew she paid her dues. Her daughter watched her mother that day vote for Roosevelt, then go home and pray. 'Cause with some hope, we will survive another day. We've come this far to see another day. 4, Dad's civic duty done that second Tuesday morning. Mom picked me up from school after teaching kindergarten. And as we walked to the polling place, hand in hand, she shared the stories of my proud great-greats and my greats and grands. Walking streets paved with segregation, passing buildings erected by hate. The original sin created American gems with over 400 years to incubate. Following her footsteps, quiet lineage of power, we waited online for what felt like hours. I followed her to something that looked like a shower. Once in Oz, with the wizard curtain closed, Mom showed me the candidates. Then we chose. The lever pushed. We did it together. Our voices were heard. A lesson impressed forever. 5. What was through my window was rarely discussed. By the age I was 8, I knew the neighbors didn't like us much. My family and I were surrounded by the them versus us. With a world coming from an electric box, I saw Martin show me to the mountaintop. Then I saw him and John's brother in primetime get shot. So I will never forget America's sin. We never received penance for where we've been. My ancestors walked miles just to be scorned. Now my charge is to fight for all the unborn. I will make sure my voice will be counted, that my vote will not be routed, because I too, America, over 6 generations, my ancestors were who gave birth to this nation. So remember those great-greats and greats and grands. Make your ballot box speak. Vote. Take a stand. History is so important, and sometimes us poets have to put it in words. And this is a day that maybe you don't remember, but a special place did. April 3rd, 1968. Lorraine welcomed the king and his court with Gideon Bibles in the drawers, ice in the buckets. Highly noted in the Green Book, Lorraine made sure they felt welcome, with the sheets folded down and hermetically sealed soap on the vanity. Lorraine, the quintessential hostess, briefly held him and his dream, gave them respite, even just for one night. Memphis was his mountaintop. He told her he came back having something to prove in a city of 2 worlds. Proud men as human billboards reminding narrow minds they too are American. Facing men with centuries of disdain, groupthink of poisoned minds, incensed that the service class deserved to be served. Lorraine knows of service, available all night, guaranteed safe after sundown. Yet in 24 hours, what Lorraine had to do would be more than hanging towels and fluffing pillows. Balcony is perched, he stood looking down at his nights, making plans for the promised land. Sun in his eyes, he vowed to return, leaving Lorraine his disheveled sheets, smoldered cigarettes in the ashtray, dreams scattered across the floor. Mulberry Street became the road to the promised land, but for the rest of us, the road had a detour. Like lemmings, we veered off the cliff. We all fell when his throat was pierced by white-hot hate, speeding through CONTELPRO's crosshairs, right in front of Lorraine. Lorraine didn't want the attention or fame, nor the responsibility of cleaning his blood or brains. She knew nothing would ever be the same. So she embraced her place in history, kept her Green Book address, and changed her name. the Lorraine Motel, is now the National Civil Rights Museum, 450 Mulberry Street, Memphis, Tennessee. That following day was April 4th, 1968. And I want to thank Chip, I want to thank you, I want to thank everyone for being here. Guys, they're wonderful.
Give it up for Lora. Thank you. So I am so pleased to introduce this lady I met at Suffolk County Community College some years ago, around 10 years ago. She and I both were adults, returning students, and we got together. We joined Phi Theta Kappa. I became vice president of service. Mary was highly into the theater department, and she and I just really kicked it off, and we've been friends ever since. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mary Seymour. She is a creative arts activist who believes in the power of our individual narratives. She is a theater artist, historian, and an alumni at Stony Brook University and Suffolk County Community College. Seymour acting and directing credits include Broadway production of the musical Hair, the musical, a co-starring role in Raisin, the musical. In 2023, as an adjunct theater arts professor at Suffolk County Community College, she directed Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Our Yesterdays, Our Lessons into Our Tomorrows. Please welcome my friend, my sister, Mary Seymour.
Thank you, Chip. Another round of applause for Lora Tucker. Yes, hi. Chip and I did. We went to Suffolk Community together, mature students. And then I took the next challenge and ended up going to Stony Brook, getting my undergrad BA in Africana Studies, and then my master's in Africana Studies. Tell you a quick story. It's wonderful to be mature when you're in history and you've lived the history. It's so wonderful. And I'm proud to say, when I graduated in 2018, the first time I was the eldest student. You see, they go from the youngest, who was 17, to the eldest, who was 70 plus, shall we say. I want to share with you things I've written through my undergrad years and my graduate years. And for my thesis, of course, it was arduous, and I wrote 70 pages. I'm not going to read you the 70 pages, I promise. But I'm just going to read reflections of things I think about, that I love, and I feel. First, I want to say something else. It's paramount for all cultures to investigate and question the history and the research about their cultures. For Black and Brown people, it is a constant intellectual battle to be able to analyze our authentic truth, research our history, and continue to uncover the complexities, layers of falsehood that surround our truth. And here's one of my truths. It's called Choose Chose. It's kind of angry. I choose to believe whatever I choose to believe. I choose not to care what you think about this poem. Interesting? For feelings of me, this totally unique member of humankind, chosen to be on this planet for one time at this time. I don't want to rhyme. I choose to chose to use this time as wisely as wise. I choose not to blame my parents, husband, children, or grandchildren for what I will or will not do and achieve in life. I choose to see the beauty in everything that is beautiful, determined by my standards and not others. and not others. I choose to get excited and smile when music takes over for one moment. I choose to be proud of my Black skin and kinky hair. I choose to embrace the history of my ancestors with love and respect. I choose to liberate what I choose from the layers of conditioning that have been imposed on my choosing. I chose to be an educated Black woman, understanding the complexities of my Blackness. When I chose not to impress, but write what's right for me. I choose to love the energy of honest love. I choose to write and write until I write the chosen truths in my soul. Maybe the first step I chose to believe. Thank you. I think this was from one of the poetry classes at Stony Brook. I was kind of angry with this one. I am a voice of a Black woman caught between youth and old age. I am the voice of an angry bird that can't understand the video app. I am the voice of all of the ancestors who walked before me. I am an enslaved spirit who lost her life at the hands of a slave master. I am the living impression of everything I have ever thought. I am the voice that called messages across the Niagara River. I am mother, I am wife, grandmother. I'm life. In honor of Black History Month, I felt this poem would be appropriate. Every day should be Black History Month, let me say that. It's called Beautiful Black Champion. Beautiful Black Champion. See beyond the kinky, curly, or wavy hair. See beyond the blackness, whiteness of your skin. See beyond the fullness of your lips. See beyond the dislike you may see in the mirror. Seriously, look into your soul and rejoice. Take a deep breath and look into the full-length mirror and embrace your beauty. Embrace the music that you hear. Rejoice in the knowledge that we are creators of humankind. Beautiful Black champion, learn to respect, reflect the history that was the beginning of mankind for every Black woman. Beautiful Black champion, the scope of our beauty runs deep into the image you reflect, the image you see in one of natural beauty. Yet you feel imperfections imposed by a world that created this model of perfections based on a vision that only excludes and does not include. Stop, look in the mirror, my beautiful Black sisters. Stop, don't judge, don't analyze. Look at you, look at the beauty that is yours. Look at the history that is yours, the strong, proud history, at the heritage that you are history of women who are the beginning of humankind. All right, this is a fun one. I actually wrote this about when I was in high school in the 60s. And it dawned on me, well, I thought about this story and then I wrote it recently. But it's about my first love affair. Okay, it's called Mary and Her Cello. When Mary played the cello, a warm, strange, yet sensitive feeling would slowly move through her body. She didn't understand this different, sometimes intense feeling that started below her belly button and traveled straight down to her stomach towards both legs. Sometimes the sensation began in the center of her chest, where her training bra sat between her stomach and those things called breasts. She loved to play the cello, especially at school, since she sat first seat, second stand, and sometimes the music teacher allowed her to play the A chord, so the entire orchestra should tune up their instruments. On one Wednesday, Mary would go to the rehearsal room to practice instead of eating lunch. She would slowly take her cello from the case and gently place the instrument on its side. Then she would take the rosin in her left hand and run the bow up and down, making sure the bow was perfect for touching her cello strings. Mary would then pick up the cello and carefully place the cello's body on her right breast and right side. Pick up the bow and begin to play. The warm, comfortable vibrations from the cello caresses the air, and Mary and her cello were one. She would sway back and forth and left hand and would move up and down the cello's neck. Until yesterday, all Mary's thoughts always focused on her beautiful cello and the mysterious feeling she felt every time she played the instrument. But yesterday, Peter Valdez asked if he could walk her home. He even asked to carry her cello. Mary said yes to both questions. And when they arrived at the door, Peter slowly leaned the cello on the side of Mary's house, and in one slow, quick move, grabbed her and wrapped his arms around her waist. Peter planted a very sloppy, wet kiss directly on her lips. Mary fell back, stunned by this warm sensation. She started to feel again. The feeling went from her belly down and through both her legs and then up her belly button to these things called breasts. Mary experienced her first passionate kiss. Now, the two most essential things in 7th grade are her cello and maybe Peter Valdez. And the last one is about music. I sort of feel, I'm a singer also. I feel that a lot of times the instruments play the person. See, the person thinks they're playing the instrument, but we know we're all uniquely one in this energy vibration. So it's called Guitar Plays Me Fine. And it was written from a piece by Roman Bearden that I saw that had a picture of a guitar player and this old banjo. Guitar plays me fine. Movement, impulse, feeling in my hands. Old, young, tired hands. Music. Guitar talks, don't play. Don't need to play. Just close my eyes and fingers fly. Close my eyes, play this, play that. See, I don't play guitar. The guitar plays me fine, fine. Guitar plays me fine. Music just come. I don't know how. Music just come. Just close my eyes and my fingers fly. Just close my eyes and my fingers fly. Smiling, rocking, clapping hands in time. See, fingers fly. Starts to sing a new song. I close my eyes, sing this time. Words just don't come, don't know how. Words just don't come, don't care. Guitar says slow. Guitar says go. Guitar plays me fine, fine. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up one more time for Mary Seymour and also Lora Tucker. So, since this is the 100th year of celebrating Black History Month, I came up with this great idea. What is it, Chip? Funny you should ask. So I came up with this idea, and I talked to Dr. Burrow Williams at CAPA, the Caribbean American Poets Association. The idea I came up was to create an anthology of Black poets of Long Island. So that's what we're going to do. Isn't that great? Right? So if you're a Black poet and you have something to say about our culture, about our resilience, then please submit to Kappa America Poets Association. As you know, Jupiter Hammond was born in Long Island. He was born enslaved, and he was the first Black person to publish. He was born in 1711. He endured 3 generations of being enslaved by the Lord family. That's why we're naming the anthology Celebrating Jupiter, an anthology of Black poets of Long Island. The NAACP Eastern Long Island branch has a scholarship for Suffolk County Community College, and we're raising money for that. We're going to have a celebration at the Walt Whitman birthplace in October. And now I would like to bring back up my 2 sisters, Mary Seymour and Lora Tucker. We are going to read my poem entitled Idea of America. I made it into a play. Mary Seymour directed it. Kenny Seymour is our music director, and John James is on visuals. So please help welcome them all. I think it's so important that we tell our own story. Let's give it up for Kenny Seymour, everyone. And John James. Looking back and knowing where we've come from, at all the obstacles that have been placed in our way, the hangings, the torture, even the many mysterious killings of some, makes me wonder how I'm even alive, sane, and here today.
I will never forget the stories my parents and grandparents about the many sacrifices our ancestors made not that long ago, when they were captured and chained and shackled together and shipped across the ocean, far away in a stockade.
Even if they tried to silence me by cutting off my tongue and ears, my eyes will always tell the stories of the oppressor's fears, our stories and our fears.
Like the fear of being stripped down naked, tied whilst stinging lashes thrust upon our rears, while questioning the existence of God ever being there.
Making us pray that God was here and wishing this old life's end was near.
We are the proud descendants of those who were treated worse than bearing dirt. Our fathers, mothers, sisters, and brothers were beaten, bought, sold, bred, rented, and traded.
No words could ever excuse our hurt. Everything about us, they told us, was hate.
Slave owners didn't care about separating a Black African man from his family. They were only concerned with their own satisfaction, status, wealth. To them, we were all just a commodity. They didn't give a damn about how we felt.
We would not be quiet, get over it, nor will we forget. That's right, as long as we can still remember, and as long as we have breath, we will tell our stories. My great-grandfather's father, Peter, was born enslaved. With a value of $538, he was appraised. Listed, Negro boy. Right there on the inventory sheet of slave owner Allen T. Overby, recently deceased, then bequeathed to another slave owner.
You'll shame them more by not mentioning the name to whom he was released.
At the very early age of 7, Peter was separated from his family, ripped from the loving arms of his weeping mother Jenny, snatched, shirt soaking wet with the tears of his brothers. Frank was age 4 and 2-year-old Joe. Did Peter ever see his family again? Years I've searched, and it hurts to say, I still don't know.
Slavery poisoned heirloom passed down from one generation to the next.
Beginning at birth, they lived their entire lives, most times with little or no hope at all in sight.
America, words are inadequate to describe or excuse our hurt, no matter what they say, feel, or don't say about slavery. It just wasn't right. We will continue to tell our stories. We will not forget. With wide eyes, filled with festering hatred, coming from all directions, closely gathered did they band by the blazing dirt with babies in their arms and youngins held tightly by the hand, screaming and yelling, "Nigger!" as they dragged me by my feet, delivering my reckoning, while still I weep.
And as she was forced to spread her young trembling legs, we cried, pleaded, and begged as
We bled.
Fire burns highly, rapidly, loudly, continuously kindled with seasoned timber of hate. No one escaped unscathed. There was no place to run, no place to hide. There was no place sacred. No place was safe.
A crack to the head, face, neck, leg, back, and knee. To the young black men, women, and children, repeatedly did those with billy clubs hit, boastfully grinning and shouting, "Get those niggers!" as the pack of growling dogs viciously bit.
Knocked down, harshly brushed, bruised, crushed by the velocity of the fireman's water hose aim, tar and feathered, paraded and mocked, tightly weighed down by yet another heavy ash chain. What a damn shame.
They raped our precious little girls, hung our boys without consequence.
Took whatever they wanted and destroyed our businesses.
Burned crosses, bombed our churches, arrested our ministers and leaders.
To them, we weren't really human.
We were only niggers.
Yet still, there's time to start healing from the scars of history, but by first telling the truth.
Yes, the truth. The reality, this nation, the land of the free, was formed, founded, and is still being governed with ideology embedded in racism, sexism, and other cruel and inhumane atrocities.
You see, Native American genocide and slavery are just two of the many deep scars in American history, doused in blood and tears, which evoke painful memories with significance too important not to hear.
America, will you ever learn from the scars of history?
Led by he who lies so blatantly, here we are in the 21st century, infected with COVID-19, racism, insurgency of our capital, threatening our democracy.
While evil, unjust people in the highest office remain, we will all be limited as to what we can gain. And again today, Black people and people of color are the ones left in the most immeasurable pain.
Sure, we can always hope for a better future, as no one really knows what tomorrow will hold. But I won't fool myself into thinking after generations of hatred, they'll break their racist mold. But for how long will we have to live and fight? Those who think they're better than us simply because their skin is white?
Will it ever end? Or must we all die before God pays attention to our desperate cry?
I hate the thought of being shot down because of the color of my skin, but I will always remember, no, unfortunately, I'm constantly reminded when I walk out the door. That's the harsh reality all Black men, women, and children are in.
America, will you please learn from our horrid past and not lose sight?
Any action fueled with hate, homophobia, sexism, racism, or the myth of white supremacy ideology just ain't right. Denying basic needs, treating people inhumanely, making and enforcing laws and degrading systems designed to disproportionately displace and keep Black people and people of color down in prison, disenfranchised, depressed, and oppressed, and killing our Black men, women, and children while no one has been held accountable just ain't right.
Please, please learn and let's heal from the scars of history. America, please don't lose sight.
Now listen here, based on the notion, if this idea of America truly being the great nation, the land of the free, then liberty, equality, and justice must be inclusive, including people who look like me.
The time is now.
We must speak out.
Show up and vote. Thank you.
And I am proud to be co-host with him. All right, we're going into the open mic. There are rules for the open mic. You have no more than 3 minutes, okay? That is one poem, not the epic that you have so much pride in. One poem or 2 very short poems. If you go over time, I really believe in the time boundary. So I will borrow the cane and I will forcibly remove you from the stage. We're going to start this afternoon with a member of our Poetry Street family, Vinnie Colon. Let's hear it. Make a lot of noise for these people.
Thank you. Your features were great. I'm reading a poem today. I'm only going to read one poem. It's relatively short. It's from my book called The Old Wooden Bench. Judy Turk, who's on Facebook, who's on Zoom right over there. She's the publisher of it. And it's called Let's Not Talk About It. And I hope you can see the irony in it. Let's not talk about it, the ropes or the bridges, the dark spots on our past, or the sting of the lash. Let's not talk about the hurt we've caused. Let's go back to the source, the delta, the river it knows. The pain it grows as the prejudice still shows. Set your baskets afloat. but only after the baptisms. Let's not talk about the places, Tuskegee, Montgomery, Memphis, Selma, Detroit, or Shibuya. Let's not talk about building bridges or police shootings and such. It's all too much to bear, speak, or hear. Stand back, look away, do not touch. I'm sorry, there's nothing more to see here. Let's not talk about the effect or the cause. Let's go back to the sauce, the powder, and the finger, whatever we need to block out the feelings which linger. This, the eternal struggle, my brothers, of trapdoors, rig courts, and glass ceilings. Let's not talk about the cost or what we lost as a people from cookout to steeple, the lives that we've tossed as the bodies still left swinging. In the chapel they're singing, and the words and the world keep on spinning. Out of control as we lose another soul in the system. What are we missing? Have we finally learned our lesson? Or is it just fancy window dressing to frame a very unkind picture? Let's make a pact. Let's talk about that in hopes that the talking soon leads to action. Because in silence, nothing changes. As we coexist as strangers in the night, we can no longer deny our sight or look away. While the sun's out, still out, let us pray and kneel and come together. Let it start today.
An auspicious beginning. Let's hear it again for Vinny. Hello. And Vinny runs his own poetry venue, not in Rocky Point anymore. Where is it, Vinny?
Book Quarter in Mount Sinai.
Yes, the first Tuesday.
Except this month it's going to be March and Dave Wagner.
March 10th, everybody. Okay. By the way, we will do 3 poems from people 3 poets from in the room. And then Claire, our wonderful Claire, help me thank Claire Lundberg. Without her, we could not have a hybrid. She will do 3 and we'll go back and forth until everybody gets to read. Next up is another member of our Poetry Street family, Bill Batcher.
Bill. 1999, 27 years ago, UNESCO designated March 21st as World Poetry Day. So this poem is called A Poet's Lament. A poet's life is not a happy one. He wakens, pen in hand, ere rising sun, and writes with passion, eloquence, and grace, with the imagery and rhythm and a trace of pathos, till the finished work in whole can stir the spirit and renew the soul. But publishers would be the first to say that no one buys a book of poetry today. But if he wrote a harlequin romance or fantasy or how-to book, his chance of ever getting published would increase. But poetry? Not till pigs fly, at least. And so tonight, dear friend,
send up a prayer for struggling, starving poets everywhere, that readers once again begin to see the riches that derive from poetry. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. All right. Make noise. Moving right along, we have Riverhead's favorite poet and one of the fathers, the father of Poetry Street, Bobby Brown.
Wow. Hi. It was very interesting that sometimes when we're celebrating Black History, especially here in Riverhead, people had the concept that segregation skipped Riverhead, but it was alive and well here. And I can't remember my age, but I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. My Uncle Joe took me and my cousin Larry to the Suffolk Theater to watch King Solomon's Mines. And it was a Saturday afternoon. And that makes a difference because the matinees on Saturdays were the only times Black people could sit downstairs at the Suffolk Theater. Any other time they had to sit upstairs in the back. And if it was a night performance or a weekend, we had to sit upstairs. And it really is. I can remember a lot of stuff that we went through growing up here in Riverhead that I don't want to give the impression that it was bad times. We were poor. We were poor, but nobody knew. We didn't know that I didn't miss birthdays and Christmas times. Things were joyous times. We had very little, but we had a lot that was not tangible. You know, I mean, dinner time was a sacred time during the day. Dad had come home from work. Everybody sat around the table and had conversations. You had to hear about what Dad did during at LIP, you know, and it was really, really great times. And another thing that I enjoy history, but sometimes the memories are not that kind. Like right now, one of the things that if you want to piss me off, you piss me off about what's going on with this Epstein thing and how women are being treated in this world, in this country. And it's nothing new. And it's the power of the guy that's sitting in that big ivory tower with his pockets jammed of money, that he's getting away with stuff that are criminal, that if they were broke, they'd be in jail or dead. And it reminded me of a poem that I had written a long time ago. And it's short. It's a very short, and it's entitled I Go. It was written for someone that was going through a bad time. I go. It wasn't the missed birthdays, because I've gone through worse days. It was your callous ways. It wasn't your spending thrill with money meant for a bill. It was the constant fight uphill. It wasn't where you dropped your pants whenever you had a chance. It was your cans and my can'ts. It wasn't eating alone because you didn't come home. It was the irreverence you'd shown. It wasn't that you went out at night when I was in bed with an illness to fight. It was that you just didn't do what was right. It's because of me I'm leaving. It's a new life I'm conceiving. Save your phony grieving. I want the world to know I don't pay debts I don't owe. I go.
Claire, who we got up there?
Okay, Maggie. The first three poets to read from Zoom will be J.R. Turek, followed by Megan Deutsch, and then Randy Fowler. And we'll start by asking J.R. to unmute.
Thank you. Terrific program. Thank you. I keep looking out the window. Oh, so in honor, I'm reading a poem from Empire Verse. Thank you, Local Gems. And your official announcement, we are 113 days till summer. So this is something I've been using a lot lately. Soup mug. With love to Cheryl and Mike. Picture a large mug and saucer, sturdy stoneware, biscuit background with navy blue leaves and stems, yellow and red dot flowers inside and out, and across the lid that doubles as a saucer. Mug is big enough to hold 16 ounces of soup, plenty of room to stir without drips, microwave without splatters, wide handle, lid with a finger lip for ease in holding and confession, great for holding my spoon as I slurp the last dregs of soup. I love this mug. Love soup all year through, an excellent pairing. Impatient with all things I savor microwave heating. Stir, heat, stir, lid in place to keep the heat doubling as a bib beneath my spoon to catch errant drips. I'm all about simple. Simple dinner of soup and a salad, my mug ready for anything. Lobster bisque, chicken corn chowder, minestrone, tomato basil, chicken with wide al dente noodles, New England clam, and my homemade hamburger soup. All are elegant and simply perfect in my soup mug. Hand washed and dried, it's pampered, put in the cabinet with a safe space around it until it's soup time again. In the supermarket, I start my shopping with soup, canned, jarred, dairy, shelf, freeze-dried, packaged. All are gourmet in this special mug. Of course it's special. Gifted from a couple of angels who live a block away, close to my heart, treasures blessing my life with joy every day. And I think of them, a sigh, a smile, and cartoon bubble hearts every time it's soup time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Judy. And now we go to Megan, and I'm going to spotlight her. And anytime, Megan.
Okay, thanks. Great to be here. This is called Folding Memories. I clutch a sweatshirt to my chest, warm from the dryer. My alma mater's name faded but still embossed. I wish its softness remained. The same way I wish it could relive the memories of friends' laughter glinting through suburban nights, of night fresh wind styling our hair, taking our dreams from our mouths and styling our hair. I shake out a pair of jeans. I wore when Dad told me he'd leave this earth soon. Pockets too shallow, like the amount of time I spent with him, never enough. I hang a shirt, silky as a breeze, cooling my forehead on an August night. I wore it for our wedding anniversary dinner. It flowed like it was tailored for me, like our love. Layers of memory continue to fold into the seams of pants, shirts, and dresses, growing as thick as tulle of a prom dress. Time will not rinse them away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was wonderful. Let's go now to Randy.
Randy Fowler.
Yes, thank you. And I'm honored. I'm going to be one of the features next month in March. So thank you. And for Lora, Mary, and Chip, your performances matched your poetry. It was like listening to exquisite violin music. So thank you. So my first year of poetry, I wrote mostly about myself and my family. And then I wrote this about 6 months ago. It's cross between a poem and a prayer, a psalm, basically. Prayer for a Wounded Heart. Abba, a river of resentment has carved a canyon in our society. I have let myself be discouraged by the depth and width of the chasm. So, arouse my outrage when people justify violence. Convulse my conscience when minorities are minimized and maltreated. Inflame my integrity when lying becomes a public official's norm. Plague my pocketbook and priorities when I see the poor. Stupefy my spirit when kids are crippled, killed, and traumatized by school shootings. Sear my soul when people of any faith are oppressed. Wound my heart when women's rights are repressed or dispossessed. Abba, I know further inaction against these abuses will wound my character. Guide my choices. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Randy. We'll now go back to Maggie and the poets at the library.
Okay. Next up is the wonderful Kathy Donnelly.
Thank you. Everybody can hear me? Yes, thank God for this microphone. I have to start by saying to Mary and Lora, where is she? She had to go, and Chip. That performance. I'm going to start crying. I'd like to believe that had I lived in the 16, 17, 1800s, that I would have been one of the abolitionists, that they were tortured and killed and went through hell. And I would just like to believe that I had the strength of character to stand up to basically the pursuance of money. It's all about money. Yeah. So thank you for that. And I want to say I had two poems, but I chose this one because when you think about, you know, what's going on right now, we just bombed Iran. Does everyone know that? Yeah. And, you know, that means the murder of not just women and children, but men too, who are innocent. And are just trying to raise their families, get to work, do all the things we do. God knows how many we just killed. And it's just out of hand. So there's a Tuesday meeting to say that Trump cannot do these things unilaterally. He has to have Congress's opinion. So it's too late for us to do signed petitions. It's not too late to make phone calls to the senators, congressmen, people that are going to be at this meeting and beg them to stop using warfare. They even were already in negotiations with Iran about the nuclear material. They were in negotiations. There's no reason for this. Whatever it is, we will never probably be privy to the truth. So there's 350 or so million people in this country. And one of the problems that we have is that 90 million, that's like a fourth, but that's a big chunk, didn't vote. And so I wrote a poem to this because these are friends of mine too. People I know, young people. It's called Citizens. When sunlight beamed through an open window, sheer curtains swaying in a gentle breeze, two sleepers well rested for the day's beginnings slept in. Still sleepy, he reached for the clock he did not set a minute before it would alarm. It was holiday. He slipped out of bed to the right, she to the left. He to the shower, she to the coffee maker, frying pan, 4 eggs scrambled. They ate together, always did. Then she to the shower, he to the dishes they piled in the sink. The day was theirs. They could go wherever they wanted, say whatever they thought or felt out loud, offer opinions or not. Fill in their private time as hours passed, one after the other. There was noise outside in the street, neighbors gathering, singing, shouting slogans, holding signs, holding hands, making a fuss about something. They wondered why. They never thought of freedom. It was a given. Never thought of what it might feel like if it was taken away. They would simply explain, we are not into politics.
All right, Kathy. Next up is another member of our family, almost, well, yes, from the beginning, Nina Yavel.
Give it up for Nina.
What a wonderful performance today. Thank you all. It was really great. Great to hear you. I wasn't going to read this because it's unfinished and has a lot of work yet to be done, but I think I have to read it. The Promised Land. It begins with a gene, a simple instruction inside the body that tells the skin, make melanin. It whispers in the bloodstream, becomes the verdict through generations. How absurd. We have poisoned history with beliefs and enslaved, punctured dignity, destroyed, created cults of the mindless, professing love. We have fallen to greed, wasted our God-given stores, eroded the earth, our lifeblood, due to a single gene. The rudder has loosened adrift. We are navigating an ever-threatening sea with indifference. We visualize the end of our species, unable to avoid the impending shipwreck, a world that is swirling towards annihilation. Will we become a veil of soiled lace draping the emptiness? Can our simple minds forge an opening to compassion, find a promised land, a sacred ground at the border of you and me, where the breads of tolerance, patience await? History provides a design for this synthesis, the creation of stars, new paradigms, a form of man evolved without the primitive core. a more complete being without the fragile chemistry? Can we embrace the light, tame the inner beast, or will we fall to the endless circle of hate and fear and remember nothing? It may begin with a gene, a whisper in the bloodstream, a simple instruction to remind us that we are one.
Yay, Nina. Let's hear it for Nina Yavel. Next up is the one, the only Barbara Ann Branca.
Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. Unbelievable. Chip, Mary, and Laura, who's already left. I have not a poem, but a real personal story that I'd like to share with you. And I've edited down so it is 3 minutes and maybe 20 seconds. Okay. Because I want to start with, oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. The sound of reverse. Jerome lived near the old brickworks. My boyfriend Pete was captain of the basketball team and Jerome's teammate. Jerome was the first Black player on the team. Well, the only Black kid in our suburban high school. My best friend Iris and Jerome started seeing each other in between classes. Iris was nice to him. He liked her back. The four of us would hop in Pete's Ford Fairlane, go to the diner or a drive-through burger joint, but always there were painful stares. Every night, Iris and Jerome talked on her new princess phone. Iris's parents asked, when are we going to meet him? But meeting was not in the cards. One night, an anonymous caller got Iris's father, Harry, on the phone and dropped the bombshell. Harry ripped through Iris's bedroom, out with the princess phone, out with the pink dust ruffle, out with all activities. Iris was grounded, sad, disheartened. Jerome moved away. I took peripheral fire. Neighbors said, "You're the smart one. Why did you let your best friend get involved with him?" I tried bravely to talk about equality for all. Didn't they know 3 civil rights workers were killed just trying to register people to vote? Jerome was a really great person. What did the color of his skin have to do with anything? This is 1964, not 1864. That message got me nowhere. Only my Army Colonel Dad was a little softer in judgment, remembering he trained an all-Black platoon when he was a young lieutenant before Army integration. I finally figured out that everyone was picturing that same passage we had read about in James Baldwin's Another Country. Seeing Jerome giving Iris enough venom to make 100 Black-white babies. And that's all they could see. They were not seeing Jerome at all, only reflections of their own prejudice. Back at school, everybody knew, but stopped talking about it. Yeah, the English teacher admired my essay about civil rights. That civil rights should begin at home and not on a march off in Washington. The history teacher who moonlighted as a social worker was sympathetic, but when he came in with a black eye after trouble in a tough neighborhood, he seemed to give up the fight. That's what really got me angry, the silence. Everybody wanted everything to go back to how it was, safe and conforming. Every day dismissal time, Harry would be there to pick up Iris and me. He picked us up from school in his purple Plymouth Fury with the push-button transmission. Harry, always waiting in the same parking space, always silent as we packed into the car, too petrified to speak. The only sound as he backed out of the parking space was the deep clicking sound of reverse.
Wow.
Thank you, Barbara Ann. All right, let's go back to Claire on Zoom.
Thank you, Maggie. We are first going to go to Rose Cervoni Taylor, followed by Beryl Williams, and then I found a poem of my own I'll read. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. What a lovely, lovely afternoon. And Chip, you and Laura and Mary, that was such a powerful performance and amazing. Before I read, I do want to just let you know that next Saturday I will be co-featuring for Judy in East Meadow Library. So hopefully I can see some of you. The poem I'm going to read was published in the anthology by the Modesto Poetry Center as part of a contest they had where you wrote a poem a day for 30 days. And this is my offering, Rage Bait. Here we go again. A word, a line, not necessarily true, but designed to elicit the raw feelings of rage lurking under the surface of a seemingly calm demeanor. Again, trapped into bringing to the top such crude emotions, so dark. Innocently looking things up, it worked. You got me. I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And now I'm all in, not knowing what to believe. I search and search for the truth hiding in the midst of lies. But not for long. You may have baited me for the moment, but my hunger for the real amongst the fake and my wanting for peace evermore will prevail. It always does. And I am free to be me again, to believe what I will, letting go all the while, and the fury of outrage is gone, provoked no more. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. That was wonderful. We'll now go over to Beryl.
Oh, hello, everybody, and hello, Poetry Street. I'm going to read not an original poem. I'm reading one from Langston Hughes, who has the distinction of being an American poet, a social activist, a novelist, a playwright, and columnist, and one of the most well-known American poets. And his poem in celebration of Black History Month 2026, it's still relevant. It's called I Dream a World. I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its path adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice blights our day. A world I dream where black or white, whatever race may be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head, and joy like a pearl attends the needs of all mankind. Of such I dream, my world. Langston Hughes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Beryl. That was great.
His son's a month older than me and will have a birthday soon, but we grew up in very different towns. I was going to read a poem by someone else, but I was reminded by Lorna, and thank you, Chip, Lorna, and Mary, that was wonderful, that I had one that allows me my own rage without appropriating anyone else's. I wrote it almost a year ago, and it's called Why Attend the Funeral of a Pope? Why attend the funeral of a pope whose mission has been in service to humanity, who chose his name to honor one who respected the poor, one who understood our relation to the natural environment, and one who understood that our duty is to reach out to the margins of society, one who attracted real crowds of followers, so many followers from around the world. Why target your enemies and not embrace them? Why not strive to understand the plight of the underserved, those without privilege? 'Tis easier to line your own pockets, and those who will, in turn, further line yours. Your world vision is not a lowercase Catholic one. It's self-serving at best. Follow me, you say. Feed me, you say. Me, you say. Why be woke, you say, and able to see the world clearly, when you'd prefer stealth, ICE officials, cloaked in black masks, snatch our neighbors from city streets, disappear our citizenry, and imprison our judges, just for being here legally or protecting our right to due process. Do you love me, Simon Peter? Yes, Lord, then feed my lambs. Do you love me, Simon Peter? Yes, Lord, then tend my sheep. Do you love me, Simon Peter? Yes, Lord, then feed my sheep. Oh, what these millions of dollars paid to El Salvadorian torture camps could do to feed our hungry, clothe our poor, educate our children in service to humanity. Remember, whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. And truly we say to thee, when you say, follow me, remember, you are not he. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. That was beautiful. Do we have any more people on Zoom?
Not today, thank you.
Okay. Then we have 4 more people on the list here. Is there anybody who's not on the list who would like to read? Raise your hand. No. Okay, then moving right along. Next is Eva June Roberts.
Can you hear me? Hi. I wanted to first celebrate Black History, and I want to thank everyone who's spoken or performed before me. But before I get started, I wanted to first remember Larry Street, who has died this year. And I was here for some event, probably Loving Day event that the library held some back, and also other events. But if anyone didn't know that he has passed, just to honor his memory and his life and his work. I wanted to, I'm going to read a poem that I wrote after Dr. King died. I was 9 when he died. I turned 10 in July of that year. So I'm not sure if I was 10 or 11 when I wrote this. But before I do that, let me explain. I want people to know that I am Black history, and Black history is me. For those, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, I think, because you're all here for Black history. So y'all know about hypodescent, the concept of hypodescent, or the one-drop rule, part of the racism of this country, that if you're born to parents of mixed race in the United States, that you are considered to be of what was the lower status. So my father had the black afro, my brother got the brown afro, and I got my mother's hair, and it's the same color it was, and later in life, it was white, but anyhow. So it's because of that, I just want that to be understood. So this is the poem that my mother said before it was a legal holiday. She said, you can stay home from school, but you can't just hang out and it's not just a day off. You have to do something in honor of Dr. King. So I wrote this poem, very short. I was 10 or 11. Dr. King was a man of grace. He fought for people of every race. And then one day he went downtown and someone shot him down. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Next up is Diane Muscala. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me? So just like Beryl, I have a poem that I'd like to read by Langston Hughes. It's included in this poetry anthology that I received as a present about 50 years ago. And I've always loved this poem. The first time I read it was 50 years ago. It's called I Too, Langston Hughes. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll sit at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane. And next we have Pramila Venkateswaran.
Wow, I'm so glad I came today to this program. Lora, Mary, and Chip, your performance was just absolutely wonderful. I was so devastated by the news of US attack on Iran that I wanted to just stay home under the covers and not get out. but I'm glad Kathy called me and said, we have to go. So I'm here. I'm so happy that I made it here, and such wonderful poetry from all of you and our fabulous Zoom readers. I just want to put a shout out to National Organization for Women. We are sending petitions to the senators to stop ICE raids in our communities, to restore USAID funding, and to send humanitarian aid to Gaza. So we are hoping to send all the petitions by Monday. So if you could sign those petitions, we'd be most grateful to you. Thank you. So in honor of Black History Month, I would like to read this poem that I wrote to June Jordan. As many of you know, June Jordan was a wonderful African-American poet, writing especially in the 1980s. And she's written several poems about Palestine, which really affected me. And I wanted to, sort of underline the fact that there is a direct connection between Black liberation and Palestinian liberation, which she speaks about, as well as many African-American writers and leaders, including Martin Luther King, and most recently, Ta-Nehisi Coates in his book, The Message. After June Jordan's poems on Palestine. June, when I read your lines on Palestine at breakfast this cold morning, I hear you quote the ignorant. Didn't you read the leaflets that they dropped from their hotshot fighter jets? They told you to go. There was the Mediterranean. You could walk into the water and stay there. I shudder to hear the same words today. Go, the sea awaits you, or run to Egypt. If you have no money to get out, just keep running. Drones will chaw you. The trees are quiet. I've not read today's news yet. Strident voices salivate on the square. I'd rather hear leaf rustle than retorts of those who don't feel for a child bleeding to death, a mother giving birth in the rubble, a father's legs amputated without anesthetic. Those who ask casually between bites of a sandwich, why can't other countries let in Palestinians? I ask right back, if forced to flee your house, wouldn't you feel the terror of having nothing? And if you can't flee anywhere, wouldn't you fear being consumed by flames? And if a neighboring country sheltered you, wouldn't you dream of entering your home? June, this is what you would ask, repeating what you said in 1982. That our hands are bloodied with the dollars and weapons we supply to eliminate a people as if they do not have a right to exist. I lean on you as doctors, journalists, teachers, and poets resist the colonizers' push to wipe out people to possess their land. June, your voice is the music I hear at daybreak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camilla. I'm going to close the open mic with a poem by Claude McKay. He's a Jamaican-American poet. But before I do that, I want to thank you all for coming today. I hope you come back next week. What features we had. The play was unbelievable. And I'm so glad that you were all here to share this experience. This poem is called America. It was written in 1922. America. Although she feeds me bread of bitterness and sinks into my throat her tiger's tooth, stealing my breath of life, I will confess I love this culture to hell that tests my youth. Her vigor flows like tides into my blood, giving me strength erect against her hate. Her bigness sweeps my being like a flood, yet as a rebel fronts a king and state, I stand within her walls with not a shred of terror, malice, not a word of jeer. Darkly, I gaze into the days ahead and see her might and granite wonders there. Beneath the touch of time's unerring hand, like priceless treasures sinking in the sand. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Chip, you want to bid everybody farewell or read another poem?
Let's give it up for Maggie Bloomfield. And let's give it up for everyone that came today for to help us celebrate Black History Month. We really appreciate you so much. I would like to invite Mary back up to the stage to read one more poem before we leave. Give it up for Mary Seymour. It's so important to tell our stories, and it's so important that we're here together at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip. Wow, what talent. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was great. This is a short piece that I wrote when I was an undergrad. And for most of us, of course, you'll understand, when you're in college and you have to write academically all the time, I've always been a poet. I've always been a creative artist. So I convinced one of these professors, instead of me writing an intellectual term paper, could I turn it into a series of poems? He said yes. I was shocked, but he did. And it was an analysis. This particular poem, it says, the following poem reflects portions of the film African American Many Rivers to Cross, Part 1 by Henry Louis Gates Jr. And this is the poem I wrote. By the way, the class I was taking at that time was The African American Family. It's about an enslaved young girl who made it through the crossing to tell her story. And it's true, her name was Priscilla. It's called Priscilla's Voice. Do you hear the voices crying, the ocean waves and blood? Do you hear the voices crying? Priscilla, Priscilla, Priscilla. A ship crossed the ocean. Priscilla, 10 years old. Your eyes see, your heart feels, shocks follow, dead bodies float. Priscilla, unbearable pain, horrendous thoughts. Priscilla, don't you hear the ancestors praying? Live, Priscilla, live, so our story can be told. Priscilla beat the odds. Yesterday's history is today's truth. Priscilla, Priscilla.
Thank you so much, Mary. It just reminds me how resilient we are. I like to close with Under the Soul. I get tired of looking up only to see the dirt on the soul that's constantly pressing me down. No doubt with all my might, I will, no matter what, continue to fight and most likely cry. I know you are questioning, well, there's tradition, honor, bravery, strength, the pledge of oath, duty, and finally the cliche. I shouldn't complain because I do imagine that there's someone somewhere worse off than I. But truthfully and nonetheless, here I am barely lifting that dirty soul just so I can breathe while hoping and praying that one day soon I'll be able to squeeze out from under the heavy foot of incarcerated sorrow. I swear, if I don't make it out today, I'll try even harder tomorrow. You see, I can't give up and I won't give in as long as I have one breath of air. I don't care how bad it appears, for in my soul, I know they meaning the source, the power, the glory, and light within, can't or won't put more on me than I can bear. I believe God's love and strength I receive and clutch to my bosom with all my weary might. Locked within my soul, I rest and trust that his gift of his spirit will sustain me tonight. In the morning, I will offer thanks to God again for giving me another day. For I know with him, I'll lift from under that dirty soul and finally slip away. Thank you. Thank you all for being